It's there! Holy moly, this one's going to go big. Right then, let's see if I can remember this machine. What we have here is the old impulse machine Mortal Wombat on a £25 jackpot. Now, I am going to try and remember how to do this, but please do bear in mind that it must be 12, 13 years since I've done a real one of these. Did have a couple of them locally, one of them in a pub just down the road from me and one in an arcade in Douglas. The one that was in the pub just down the road was a very good earner. It stayed on site for months and months, and I was visiting it maybe 3 times a week, something like that on average. And it was worth going in for because you could generally rip it for a jackpot. And the method on this, by the way, was a rip. You could generally rip it for a jackpot for about a tenner in, give or take. So you're a £15 profit. Do that 3 times a week. That's 45 quid. Multiply that by several months and you've not done bad out of a single £25 jackpot machine. And the other thing is that on a night out, you could do this twice. When me and a mate were out in town for a night out, what we'd do is go to the pub that had this in first thing at like 6:30, 7 in the evening, get the jackpot out. We'd then go round town and we'd go back to this pub for kind of last orders and do it again. And you could do that back then because fruit machines actually got played by normal people. So quite a lot of good memories of this machine because it made me a decent chunk of cash. And the one in the arcade was fairly lucrative for quite a while as well. So let's get some money in and see if I can remember how to do it. Now, I'm hoping that this will have the double trap in it because this machine had 2 levels of happiness. There was the happiest mode where it would let you trap it twice, once off Superhold and then once off the nudge exchange. Thereafter, the lower level of happiness, it would just let you trap it the once off the nudge exchange. I'm hoping here that in the emulator we'll be able to get both of them. But the ones that I had in the wild here, the first time that I did them, they allowed the double trap. So that was 2 jackpots, 50 quid. Thereafter, they never got back to being Superhold happy, i.e. double rip happy. So hopefully, I'll just put another quid in instead of pressing start. Hopefully, this one will be double rip happy. So let's get it going. And what we're after is that fella there on the middle reel. Now that's a jackpot symbol, the impulse symbol, but it also, when it lands on the middle reel only, not when it lands on the other reels, where's the, because yeah, in fact, Matty's got the colours right here as well, because on the first and third reels, they were blue. On the middle reel, it was the platinum impulse symbol. And when that landed, it gave you a choice of these 6 features here, and you could choose which one you wanted with a barcode. And that platinum symbol there will be absolutely pivotal to both of these rips. This is why this machine, despite looking very similar to Spin On It, offered you a way to do it that Spin On It did not have. Now, it should be, even when the machine is in a bad mood overall, it should be fairly happy to let you get that platinum impulse symbol. So let me see if it'll gamble up to it here. And once it's in range, I've got the reel strips off to the right here, but to be absolutely honest, you don't really need to know them on this machine because it will tell you when you've got the there you are. See when that starts flashing? That means that the platinum impulse symbol is within nudge range on the middle reel. The bells aren't there. So there we are. We now have our platinum impulse symbol. And there's one feature in particular that we're going to take here, which is that one there, wax on, wax off, which is 1, 3, 2. And it's like a toggle climb. Wax on takes you up the ladder, wax off bins you off with whatever you've got. I think you can get it up to about 3 quid, 4 quid at the most, because it gets faster and faster. But what we want to do here is wax off straight away and bin it off with a quid, because we want to give ourselves the easiest gamble possible to the first nudge exchange. So we want to be starting from a quid, and this should let us gamble quite happily to that first nudge exchange. And it should be a fairly generous nudge exchange at that too. So it should be like 8, 10 nudges or something. Yeah, there we are, 8 or 10 nudges. And the reason it's doing that, of course, is because there's nothing decent in range. It's quite happy to give us that many nudges, because it knows that there's only a 4 quid win. So what we do now is collect. And what we're going to try and do now is get the other impulse, there's one of them, is get the other impulse symbols within Superhold range. So that's why that feature Superhold is important. Now, you see there, oh, sorry, didn't explain what I did there. When you use up all your nudges and you don't have a win, it just gives you the platinum impulse straight back. So, and then I can take wax on, wax off again. And then we can do basically just rinse, wash, repeat. And now I can exchange to nudges again. I've got to the first nudge exchange. I exchange over, and then I collect the nudges. I don't want to auto nudge or anything like that. I don't want to take a feature. What I do now is just carry on nudging down. So watch what happens here when I use the last nudge and don't nudge anything in. It just immediately awards the platinum impulse again. So now I can do my 1, 3, 2. And what you're going to find here, by the way, we go wax off, is that the nudge exchange is very suddenly going to get much less generous because the jackpot is just there. So at that point, what we can do, we just want to make sure that we can get to that nudge exchange, which again, it should be prepared to do. It's just not ever, ever, ever going to give us enough nudges to actually get to the jackpot. So exchange over, and yes, all of a sudden, it's got far less generous with that because there it is. Now, at this point, the nudge exchange, so we're going to do the same again, 1, 3, 2. We're going to wax off. And the nudge exchange now is always going to be 1 nudge. It's never, ever, ever in a million years going to be 2 nudges. And you could do this forever. You could keep gambling up and exchanging over, and it would always, always, always be 1 nudge. But it has allowed us here. Can you see there? It's given us the Superhold rip. We have Superhold available. So, of course, what we're going to do now is just take that feature. What happens is, by the way, is when it's not prepared to let itself get ripped twice, it will always skip past Superhold. And the way that it does it is it gives you a +2. We'll just take that. There we are. So it'll climb to bar boom, and then it will always put a +2 there, so number 2, and zip past Superhold. And it can do that basically indefinitely. Like I say, the ones that I had around here, they did let me trap them twice to start with. So the first time, and that never repeats, the first time that I played this in the pub here, it let me do this. It let me trap it with Superhold and then trap it again using the other method, which I'm going to show you now. But thereafter, it never, in the months and months it was on site, it never once went back to this Superhold. And what it would do is it would always, always skip past it with a +2 there. But in the emulator here, it's let me do it because, of course, nobody else is doing it in the emulator. Right, what do we do now? Well, we do exactly the same thing again to a point in that we get that platinum impulse on the middle reel, which it should be a little bit more careful there, to be honest. Which it should be prepared to do. It doesn't guard the platinum impulse symbol because it's not like red lines or anything like that. It's not particularly good. And you can try and get it closer with, see, I mean, so it's a fair, yeah, it's miles off there. You can try and get it closer with, oh, there we are, that's good. So do try and be sensible about it. Try and help your way into the nudges or using bonuses or whatever. Because the quicker we can, get it there, the better. Ah! It didn't actually want to give it there, did it? But it should be prepared to let me have it again. How far off is it there? I could actually just... Sorry, I'm just being a divvy, aren't I? I could actually use the... Has it gone... Where's the bell? Bell's miles away as well, isn't it? I could possibly be holding a little bit... smarter here. But all we're doing here is playing for the platinum impulse. Which hopefully will drop in fairly shortly. Come on, give us that. Don't do boost or something. Ah! Bugger. We'll keep going. For it to have allowed a Superhold rip, it will definitely allow the other rip. But do be aware that these aren't free wins. These are absolutely not free wins in any way, shape or form. They are fully accounted for. The machine knows it's paid it out and frankly tends to be a little bit grumpy about it as well. There we are. That should be in view now. So we collect our 3 nudges. We don't want to do anything else. We just want that. Now then, we kind of do the same thing. So we take wax on, wax off, we take a wax off, and then we get up to the first nudge exchange. But it's never, ever, ever going to let us... Oh dear, that's a bit mean, isn't it? Should I maybe go up to the... I'll try and go up to the next one. Because that's in... Oh, do you see that? What it's going to do there every single time? See, I was on bar boom, and then it did a spin and put a 2 and went up to cash strike. It will do that all the time now. It just will not let you get that Superhold set up again. It just won't have it. God knows how much you have to put through it, but I think it's quite a lot. So certainly when I had the real ones around here, they never had enough through them from one visit to the next for them to ever get back to being Superhold happy. They would just skip it forever. So same thing again. We nudge down, we take our wax on, wax off. We then gamble up to the first exchange. And if we get another spin here, see what it likes? It goes 1-1. And then if we do get another spin before we go, it'll be a 2. That will be a 2. It's going to avoid Superhold all the time now. We're not going to see it again. So now we exchange over. How many nudges is it giving us? 3. Well, we can definitely gamble lower safely there. And then how far away is it? I think it's not far away now. Right, there we are. Now, let me just remember what the rest of this is here, because what we've got to do now is trap it off. Hang on a minute. Trap it off this, and we do the same again. Now, what we've got to do, because the nudge exchange, as I said before, oh, Jesus, the nudge exchange is always... Oh, it went past the first nudge exchange. That was the problem there. That was slightly unfortunate. I could have done with not getting anything other than quick shot there. Would have been fine. Well, that's shocking, isn't it, with the platinum impulse just below. Oh, there we are. I need 2 nudges here. Oh, you bugger. I think it was just about... I think this was just about... There. Oh, I've just gone past it. That's annoying. I think this was just about Superhold happy, because it's put it in a little bit of a rotten mood, actually. Come on. Where is it? Oh, there it is. It's not far away. Hopefully it'll let me gamble up now. Skill bonus. Quick shot's probably the best bet there if you want to get the platinum thingy. Ooh, 12 nudges. Perfect. That's fine. We can collect that, and then we've got our... And you can use the leftover nudges to get the impulses closer like that. And then when I use the last nudge up, it just gives me the platinum impulse again. We go 1, 3, 2. We get wax on, wax off. We wax off. And it should now let me gamble up to that further. Watch what it does. If you get enough spins, you'll see it go 1, 1. And if we get another spin now, it will definitely be a double spin. No lose. And now we can exchange over. I've got a no lose, which is good. So that allows me to get... Oh, watch the spin there. See there, the spin was 2. Now, you definitely don't want to take any stupid gambles at this point. So let's just... Now, there we are. That's where we need to be. We're in the setup position. So, what you're going to... The question now is fine. So it's going to let us gamble up to the nudge exchange most of the time, because it does get in a poorer mood. You can see the fact that I trapped it for the Superhold. It doesn't like that. It's in an unhappy mood now. But I could do this literally all day. I could do this 50 times over, and it's always going to be 1 nudge. It's always going to be 1 nudge. So how am I going to get the jackpot? Well, what we have to do is be quite persistent here. And let's just get... what we have to do is be quite persistent here and get to this on with a 1 or a 12 on that side, which we haven't got there. So what I then do is exchange, collect, and then we have another go. And the other thing that you can do is get a change number. No, not a change number, a real skill, sorry. If you get a real skill, you can then stop it with a 1 or a 12 on that side. And this can take a while. You can have to do this quite a few times. Just keep an eye on the spins there, because you will see what I'm saying about it will just avoid Superhold like the plague now. It just won't give it at all. And, oh, that was a bit tight. That was higher than a 2 to a 1, wasn't it? That was a bit tight. Now, this is the one that you normally... This was the one that you normally had. I think it's not far off there, is it? This was the one that you normally had to do. Once the Superhold one had gone, and I only did this once on both of the ones that I had here, you were then left doing this one. And it usually cost, yeah, if it had a fair bit of play, you could get it for under a tenner. You know, like literally it's maybe 4 or 5 quid. Average was about a tenner, and if it was in a bad mood, it could be maybe as much as 15 quid if you were pushing it a bit. But it would always cave. It would always cave for, and let's exchange over, for less than 25 quid. You couldn't really fail to make a profit on it as long as it had had some play since you'd last done it. I mean, you couldn't just keep looping round. If you tried to do it back to back, it would cost you then more than 25 quid to get it again. But as long as it had I don't know how much play it was getting between sessions from me, but it seemed that just normal play, it would recover from one session to the next to get enough play through it to allow me to do it again. So we're just going to collect the nudges there. We don't want to take any risks. It's off after the cherry on this reel, isn't it? Right, we're back to where we want to be, which is good. And now we just need to get up to that swap with a 1 or a 12 on that side, or real skill. And it will do it eventually, but it can make it fairly hard work. No, and that's no good. Can you see there? So if I exchange over, it's always going to be 1 nudge, and that is an absolute losing gamble. So we just have to now keep going round. There's nothing else that we can do. And it can take quite a few attempts to do this from memory. It can... Oh, you bastard! And it can do that as well. It can actually kill you. Oh, I could do with... That's annoying, isn't it? I could have done with... How far away? It's put it miles away. Skill bonus. Okay, quick shot might give me a shot at the platinum there. Is that... How far away is it? It's not there yet. No platinum yet. You can just look for that flash in there. Come on. There we are. Collect. So it could be... Let's just be clear about this. It could be a pain in the arse, this. It wasn't walk up and take your money. You could sometimes have to go round a few times. Certainly on this one, you would quite often have to go round this quite a few times. It could be a little bit of a pain in the bum. So... collect that, and then it's after the cherry with a 1, isn't it? So yeah, 1, 3, 2, wax off. Let's gamble it up. We only need to gamble once. Spin, that will be a 1, and then we'll exchange over again, and we'll just collect that. We don't take any dodgy gambles. Now we just need to get the other one. So I think the exchange now is just going to be 1 nudge, isn't it? Yeah. So we're going to gamble up to the exchange, and it's going to be for 1 nudge, guaranteed. Skill bonus. I don't think there's anything... No, there's nothing clever that I can do at this point to set it up, I don't think. I think the safest thing to do is just choose no lose, because as we have seen, it is prepared to lose. Exchange over, always going to be 1 nudge. This bonus won't be anything that's going to give me any more nudges. Collect, bring it 1 down, then 1, 3, 2, and now you know where we're at. So I have to get to the first nudge exchange with a 1 or a 12 or a real skill. And just watch it, it's still going to be avoiding that Superhold like the plague. 3. No, now real skill can still save me here. And there it is. Right, what's it after? Oh, God. 2, 6, 9 with a bonus, and then 1. So I'll go for that. So after 9 with a bonus, I'm going to have a 1. So we'll have that. There we are. Now, exchange over, and oh dear, you silly, silly thing. Da-da-da! Auto nudge. And there, is our second jackpot. And yes, we'll collect that, thank you very much. So there you go. That is the double rip. That's as good as it would ever get in the wild. And it will be in a very, very bad mood now. You could not do that again. If you try to do it again... In fact, I mean, did I ever try and do it in the wild just for my own curiosity? You know what? I genuinely can't remember if I ever tried to do it back to back in the wild. And it just completely refused me for about 30 quid or 30 odd quid. So, you were losing 6 or 7 quid on it if you just tried to do it back to back. I've got a vague recollection of that, but anyway. It's something that we could test in the emulator, I suppose. I mean, I'm not going to do it on the video because that'd be really boring, but I think for my own curiosity, what I might do now is actually just try and do it back to back and see how much it costs. But so there you go. You can see from my stats there that was 50 quid out for 16 quid in. And that would be about right for the first time that I ever did these in the wild. But thereafter, you've got to remember that it would only ever be a single jackpot, which you would be putting between maybe £5 and £15 in for. But as I said at the start of this video, it could recover over the space of one evening. If you did it at sort of like 6:30 in the evening and then went back at maybe 10:30, 4 hours later, as long as it had a bit of play, you could do this again. So it clearly didn't need a huge amount through it to get ready to allow itself to be trapped off the nudge exchange again. But God knows how much it needs through it to allow itself to be trapped again for the Superhold, because at that point it's double trappable, but you've got to put a fair bit through for that, I think. So that was what, £34 profit, not too bad. And I just did have a little look through my archives before, because I'm a bit of an archivist. I tend to keep everything forever, and in one of my my documents archives I found this video, and according to, let me bring up the video properties for you here as well. Look at that. Look at that there. From the 30th of July 2005. And at the time, I had a very early video camera phone. It was some Samsung thing, a little flip Samsung thing that actually recorded video. Albeit very bad video. Oh my God, who was that sexy motherfucker there? Let's turn that down a bit. Turn that down a little bit. There we are. And this is the very, very Mortal Wombat in the pub that I was talking about. And I think this was probably the second time that I visited it for the evening. And you can see there that I think I've just got it set up there for the nudges. And there's that's the Royal in Ramsey there. And I can there get I've got them on the reels, and it's just asking me whether I want to collect it or not. So this video is what, 12 and a half years old, and this was the last one of these that I ever played. So this is how long it is since I played a real one of these. Quite nice looking machine as well, quite nice jackpot sequence, as Impulses always had. So that was the real one being done in Ramsey in July 2005, which for some reason I still actually have a very bad quality video of. So there you go. That is the Impulse machine Mortal Wombat. Thank you to Matty for sending that layout over to me. Hope you enjoyed the video and would like to see you next time. That's it for now. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to the channel. We're going to have another look at Mortal Wombat. I say another look because I originally did a video for this back in January 2018 when the ROMs first surfaced. However, a couple of things there. First of all, it's one of the early videos on the channel when I had the shit headset, so the audio's terrible. And it's also before I started doing proper audio mixes on the video, so you can't hear the machine at all. Plus, there was another problem in that half the sound ROMs were missing. So Mortal Wombat has a fantastic sound and music package, and a lot of it just wasn't there because the sound ROMs were incomplete. So what has changed in the last few days? First of all, we have had a DX released for this machine. So we've got a DX for the first time. And secondly, we've now got complete sound ROMs. This guy here, Andrew96 over at Desert Island Fruits, has turned up the missing sound ROM. So we now have the complete sound and music package for this machine, and we have a DX. And I've got my new mic, and I do a full edit on all the videos now. So what I thought I'd do
is highlight Mortal Wombat DX. We'll have a proper listen to it this time because this really has got fantastic music on it. And I also want to give a shout out to this guy here, Woodsy. Now, Woodsy's a relatively new member on the scene. He joined us over at Desert Island Fruits back in May of this year, so only 6 months ago. He's a sort of fairly regular character around the forums, getting involved with threads and conversations and all that kind of thing. But in the last sort of couple of weeks, he started having a go at making layouts. His first couple, and I think he would say this himself, his first couple were a little bit rough and ready, but he's getting his skills together now. We've got 3 of his more recent DXs. Mortal Wombat is the most recent, and I think that's his best to date. And a couple of others that he's released recently. We've got Sparta over on the left-hand side. That's the first time we've had a DX for that. And Fortune and Glory on the right-hand side. That's also the first time that we've had a DX for that. Sparta is actually a clone, or rather, the Simpsons Duff Beer Guide is a clone of Sparta. Sparta came out first. Fortune and Glory, I believe, is a unique machine. I don't think that was cloned into anything else, or that it is a clone itself. I think that's a one-off. That's also an Impulse. And, of course, Mortal Wombat in the middle here, that is an Impulse as well. I'm not going to get into Sparta or Fortune and Glory in this video. I did just want to give a shout-out to Woodsy, though, because it's always nice to see a new layout designer enter the fray and start to put their work out there. Always appreciated. Woodsy there is saying thank you to a lot of people who've been helping him. He is learning it. The emulator is very, very complicated. There's a lot of stuff in there, kind of all undocumented. You've just got to learn it, and you've just got to know it. I doff my cap to anyone who sort of takes the time and effort and the trouble to get into layout design. I wouldn't know where to start with it, so I can just about, add a button to a layout or maybe change a real properties or something like that, but anything even remotely complex and certainly actually creating a layout is completely beyond me. So hats off to Woodsy there, and thank you to him for kind of getting into the layout creation game, and he is getting better as he goes with every release. And Mortal Wombat here is actually a really nice DX. It's very playable. I was kicking it around yesterday, and what we're going to do in the video here is we're going to have a look at the rip method. Now, I have covered that in that video there, but we're going to do it again on video for this one, and we're going to use the DX, and we've got the proper sound and music this time. I had a handful, a couple of them in particular that stayed on site for a very, very long time. These were good earners for me. I made quite a lot of cash out of them. They wasn't an empty. But what I'm going to show you here is not free wins. The machine knows it's paid them and it needs time to recover. But if you could get the timing right on them, there was probably something in the region of £15 to £20 to be made per visit. I had one here that I could visit kind of every 2 or 3 days. And if you got it right on like a Friday night or a Saturday night, I remember going out with a mate. And what we'd do is we'd go to the pub that had a Mortal Wombat early doors, first thing in the evening, and you could do it and get a £25 jackpot out of it for cheap. And then if you went back at the end of the night, sort of, 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that. This is back when fruit machines actually got played by, normal punters. You could do it again. I remember doing this on several occasions, twice in the same evening, but on a normal schedule. I could visit. It was about every 3 days I went in to see one of these. And you could get a jackpot out of it for £5 or £10 in. Not a huge amount of profit, but you add that up. If you're doing that 3 times a week, that's 45 quid a week. One of these was on site for about 3 months. So, you add that up. That's a reasonable little chunk of change to take out the single machine. Had one in an arcade as well, which I was able to visit a few times. And there was one in another pub as well, although that didn't last as long. And the essence of how you can do this one, it's a little bit like Perfect Deal. And when I say it's a bit like Perfect Deal, obviously we've got a £70 Dond here by BFM, and Mortal Wombat is an old £25 Impulse. So not similarities in terms of the machine itself, but conceptually. Because if you remember on Perfect Deal, the way that got itself into trouble was it didn't see the risk of you cheating out the Dond game and then cheating out the Invincible, because it didn't look far enough ahead and didn't understand how you could get it into a position where it couldn't fail to give you the Dond and then give you the go all the way. And Mortal Wombat is a little bit like that, in that it thinks that it's safe when you've got the jackpot 2 nudges away. It doesn't protect that. It knows that the jackpot is 2 nudges away, and it won't give you the 2 nudges for the jackpot. It will only ever give you 1 nudge, but what it doesn't see is that you can kind of trick it into giving you a 1 or a 12 to gamble on to guarantee you the jackpot. There's also a second rip on this, which we can get off the Superhold feature, which works in it on a similar principle, and we can get another jackpot that way. Now, out in the wild, the Superhold rip, you would do that first. If it had the Superhold rip in it, you'd do that. And then if it had a Superhold rip in it, it would have the jackpot nudge rip in it as well. But once you had done the Superhold rip, and I found that with the ones that I had here, is you would only get the Superhold rip out of them once, and they would just never seem to get back to being happy enough to allow the Superhold rip to be done again if you were visiting the machine on a regular basis. I don't know how much they need through them to get back to being Superhold rip happy. So that was a one-time only deal on mine, and then after that it was just the jackpot nudge rip. But this machine is in a state where it will give us the Superhold rip, and then we'll be able to do the jackpot rip as well. So with that said, let's start getting some money through. Now, the first thing that we're going to need here for both of these rips is our platinum impulse symbol on the middle reel. What that gives you is one of these 6 features here, which you can get on a barcode. It doesn't protect that very well at all. It doesn't need to, because these are all kind of like 3 or 4 quid, basically. So the machine doesn't have to be particularly happy. That'll put us in. 3 of a kind will put us in. And what we're going to do here is have a listen to the fantastic music on this machine.
Oh, lucky you.
Oh.
Really good music on this. It was let down, the real machine was let down a bit by the crap speaker. Can you see on the cab here? The speaker's up near the coin mech. It was a bit of a shitty, tinny speaker, to be honest with you, which was a shame. It really let the sound package down on this because it was such a cheap-ass speaker. But anyway, can you see there? We have got our thingy in view. It should be flat. See, it's flashing there. So we collect our nudges, and then we can bring it in. And what you want to collect off this now is you go 1, 3, 2 for wax on, wax off, which is like a toggle climb. If you try and do it properly, you can generally take it up to about 243 quid, something like that. But what we want to do is deliberately stuff it up, because we want a quid here. So we select wax off. And now what we want to do is get up to the first nudge exchange. It won't protect this because there are no risks. It doesn't see any risks here. It'll give us a nice generous nudge exchange. So you see there, we exchange over to nudges. You can see there, it's offering us Superhold. I'll get into Superhold a little bit more, because that tells us, the fact that it's spinning to Superhold there tells us that it's Superhold happy. Now then, what happened there, sorry, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. I collected the nudges and deliberately nudged in nothing. Now, because I didn't nudge anything in, it immediately gives me the impulse again. So I can select 1, 3, 2. And we basically do the same thing again. We get wax on, wax off. We deliberately hit wax off. It'll put the nudge exchange. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 gambles away, but we just need to get to the first nudge exchange. We do the same thing again. As soon as we get to a nudge exchange, we exchange over. Now we collect our nudges, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. What we're trying to do there is get the jackpot 1 nudge away on reel 3. Now we're going to do the same on reel 1. So we want to leave it in this configuration with a jackpot 1 above, jackpot on the middle, and then we start bringing down the other reel. Now we get the platinum impulse again because we didn't bring a win in. Now we do wax off. You can kind of see when I say conceptually, it's a little bit similar to a perfect deal. where the machine is just not seeing a problem here. It's not seeing that it's getting itself into trouble. And we do exactly the same thing. And what you're going to see, by the way, is that this nudge exchange is very suddenly going to become a lot less generous. But for the time being, the machine is thinking, fine, no problem, you just carry on, fella, I can't see any danger here whatsoever. So we carry on down, and there, now, we are where we want to be. We've got Jackpot 1 above, Jackpot on the reel, Jackpot 1 above. So obviously at this point, we need 2 nudges for the jackpot. So we'll do the same thing again. We'll collect wax on, wax off. And now it should let us. A bit of a sketchy number. It doesn't give me a bonus number. Sometimes this will lose. Hopefully it won't. Because the machine is not seeing a problem here. So it should now win to the next one. And watch what happens to our nudge exchange now. Watch what happens to the nudge exchange. It's 1 nudge. Because the machine now knows that the jackpot is 2 nudges away, and you're not having that. I am not prepared to give you a jackpot off the nudges. So we can exchange over to 1 nudge. Now I'm going to lose that gamble because the machine doesn't want me to have a jackpot at this point. So you kind of think, well, what's the point? If you can't gamble for the jackpot, fine, you can, and we can keep doing this. We can... oh, God, I pressed the wrong bloody button. Let me get it set up again. Sorry about that, I did press the wrong button there. I've got it set up again. So, you might be thinking, well, this is all very well and good, Degsy, but if it's only ever going to give you 1 nudge, what's the point? Well, this is where the little thing comes in that it doesn't see, and we can kind of trick it into giving us 2 nudges when it doesn't want to give us 2 nudges. What we want to do first, though, is because... there we are. We'll do the Superhold rip first. Can you see? We've now got Superhold. So the silly, silly machine doesn't protect Superhold. Now, you'll only ever do this once. So we'll collect our Superhold there. And we'll get the jackpot. But this is a one-time only deal. It's really weird in that once you've done it, it protects Superhold, but it'll let you get it once. I've never quite understood it. And this is not repeating. It does have a natural streak in it, by the way. If you're not doing the rips, it does have a natural streak that will come round once in a blue moon. But like all the £25 impulses, it was harder to streak than the £15-pounders. But if you're doing the rip on it, it never seems to build the actual the pot up, the streak pot up. Certainly the ones that I was doing here, I never actually hit the natural streak on them. So what we're trying to do here, I will actually take the respin here because I want to try and get. But what we're going to do? Oh fuck! What we're doing now? We'll get a little bit unhappier now because that was not a free win, by the way. And what we're going to try and do? Oh, there we are. I've got it just above. That'd be handy if we can put us in here. Oh, is that going to do an ad again? It will be prepared to give us the impulse again. If it's got a Superhold rip in it, it's definitely got the nudge rip in it. So what we're doing now is we are just playing for that platinum impulse on the middle reel. We've had our Superhold rip, which it won't do again now. It absolutely will not do that again. And what you'll see, by the way... oh, that's handy, isn't it? There we are. It's just 1 above there. What you will see now is keep an eye, when we get in the spins, when I'm gambling, keep an eye on the steps, or the spins rather, and it will jump past Superhold every single time now. It'll fill up to the first 2, and then it'll always jump 2 up to Cash Strike, which is the 4th one up. You will not see Superhold now. And it will not come back naturally for a very, very, very long time. Oh, this might lose. Sometimes you lose on sketchy numbers. Once you've had the first jackpot out of it, it can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. And once you've done both rips, by the way, it's in a very, very bad mood. It was one of them where there wouldn't be much left, unfortunately, for the next person to come along and play it. But I suppose at least with the jackpot not being too big, it wasn't absolutely desperate. Not like you're ripping £100 jackpot machine. So we should be able to get a few nudges off there. We just want to get our we can have a 1 or a 12 to gamble on there, I suppose, since we've got the skill. There we are. It's not in view yet. It's not in view yet. that will start to flash. So what can we do here to bring it close? We can get it closer this way, can't we? Let's do that. And then we'll collect that. And then it might let us gamble back up to a nudge exchange. Yeah, there we are. Now we can exchange over. And that should... No, we don't want to respin the reels because it's not that far away, is it? I don't know, though. Let's exchange. There we are. Come on, that should be there now. Is that still not there? Fucking hell. Let's do that again, then. There we are. That's got to be it now, hasn't it? We don't want to respin the reels. No, let's exchange over, and that'll have to be there now. God, that was hard work, wasn't it? There we are, and now we can start to get our setup, and we're going to get exactly the same reel setup that we got before. So we do our wax on, wax off. We deliberately miss it. And now we just... we'll use the bonuses to help us along the way. Just keep an eye, by the way, if we get another spin. If we get another spin, I promise you it will do a +2. And it will jump. There we are. Watch it now. +2 on the middle. Absolutely guaranteed every single time. Well, that's a bit of a mean nudge. Why is that exchange so mean on the nudges? Oh, well, okay. Not quite sure why it was so mean on the nudges there, but not to worry. Because the jackpot's still a way off, but we just repeat it, just rinse, wash, repeat. And we just want to get up to the nudge exchange. Then we'll exchange over. Yeah, that's a bit more like. I don't know why I did that before. So, it doesn't really matter at this point, to be honest, but in fact, we could actually set up a better number on the other side, couldn't we? I suppose if we're... Now we're doing the same thing again. The jackpot won't be there, obviously. And now we do the same again. Wax on, wax off. Deliberately stop it on wax off. And then we need 2 gambles to get to the... Ooh, that's a bit of a sketchy number. That might lose if it's been in a bad mood with us. No, it didn't lose. There we are. And then change number. We don't really care. So we collect our nudge. And now you see we've got the reels in the configuration that we want them. And so the machine is now... It knows the jackpot is there. It knows that the jackpot is 2 nudges away. So it's only ever going to give us 1 nudge on the exchange. So how do we get a gamble that we can actually win on? Well, this is where it will eventually fall into a trap, and it'll kind of trap itself. And what we need to do... That was always going straight away, wasn't it? So we've got a no-lose, that's fine. And the way that we're going to do it is what we have to do is gamble up to the nudge exchange and get a bonus at the same time. And eventually what it will do is give us real skill off the bonus. It's stupid enough to give us real skill. So what we can do then is set ourselves up with a 1 or a 12 on the right-hand gamble. It'll exchange over with 1 nudge, because it only gives us 1 nudge and it won't give us 2 nudges. But then we've got a no-lose gamble to get the nudges that we need for the jackpot. So we exchange over, and what we want it to do here is to give us real skill. But it hasn't there, so at this point, we're not going to win a gamble. There's no way that we're winning that gamble. So what we do is we just collect the 1 nudge, and then we don't nudge anything. We just press collect again, and it puts us back onto the platinum. Then we can take our wax on, wax off. We go for wax off, and then we just gamble up to the nudge exchange, which it should do. Sometimes it will lose. Sometimes it'll just be a bit of a pig, and it'll lose on one of these gambles. We don't want it there. It's no... Watch it get +2 on the middle. See there, it's dodging Superhold every single time. Obviously, if we could land it on Superhold here, we'd be able to get a jackpot again, because we've got a jackpot in view. But once you've done that once, it will not hit it again. So we need a bonus here. So we exchange over, and now we want to try and get real skill, which now it's given us a respin there, which we absolutely don't want, because we've got the setup that we want. So we just hold them all, press start. Now we've got our 1 nudge. We collect our 1 nudge, and then we just press collect again. We don't nudge anything. We don't want to move the reels. Then we can go 1, 3, 2 for wax on, wax off. And what we have to do here is just keep plugging away at this. And eventually, assuming it doesn't lose, which sometimes it'll lose on one of these gambles if it's been a pain in the ass there. We can't lose there, so we want a bonus. We need a bonus. So we've got a bonus on the right-hand side, and now we need it to give us real, which it hasn't. Watch it dodge Superhold. And then we just do the same thing again. So we collect, wax on, wax off, and then we just go back again. There we are. And then hopefully it'll give us a bonus number. Yeah, there we are. And we just keep doing this. We literally just keep doing this. And then watch it dodge Superhold. There we go. So it will not give us Superhold. We need a bonus. We got a bonus on that. I don't know. I have it in my head that you need the bonus on the left-hand side. Because if you're on the right-hand side, we'll find out for sure. But I think it sees it if you're on the right-hand side. So I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but I've got it in my head that we need to get the bonus on the left-hand side. We'll see anyway. It will do it. If this is the thing, it will do it eventually. It will cave. It will fuck up. Sometimes it can take so long that you think it's not working, but it always gives in eventually. So let's see. See, I don't know if it can actually give it off that one. That's something that I've got in my head, so I'll just slightly concentrate. Because if you one wrong button press, if you like nudge a jackpot symbol by accident or something like that, it's stuffed at that point. So we've got to keep the reels in this configuration. So there's the bonus. That's the bonus that we need on the left hand side. See now, like, I don't know, can it give it off this? I have got it in my head that it can't give it off the right hand side, but I could be wrong. So we just keep repeating this, but you can see here that once you kind of get your eye with it, you can do it pretty quickly. It doesn't take that long to do, and sometimes it will cave really quickly as well. You'll just get lucky and it'll do it like on the first one or the second one. But yeah, you can see there it's not hitting real skill off that, is it? So there we are. Let's just make sure we press all the buttons in the right order. But this is where I'm saying about the perfect deal thing, is that the machine doesn't see a threat here. Oh, it did fine. There we are. That's always the risk that it was being a little bit piggy there. But the machine is not seeing that real configuration as a threat. That's £4 for bells, isn't it? But problem with that is it's going to be disinclined to let me gamble up to a nudge exchange. Higher up you get, the less likely you are to get a nudge exchange. Let's exchange over. There, that should give me my impulse, hopefully. No, it hasn't. 10 nudges. It's 10 nudges and it's not there. Well, that's fine. We can nudge in melons again, and then half a chance we might lose on the way to the nudge exchange here. Oh, that's promising. And then we'll go up. Come on, right? That should be. I don't want to nudge because it should be. Yeah, there we are. So it's got to be there for that many nudges, hasn't it? And now we just want that set up again. So there we are. Don't nudge anything in. And then we need to get our skill. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, does it? Get a no lose, I suppose. That'll make it. That should win. There we are. And then we'll exchange over. Should give us a nice generous nudge exchange. There we are. Collect our nudges. Let's just, there we are. There it is on that side. And then we do the same thing again. It's this platinum impulse that screws it here. You couldn't do this on spin on it, because spin on it didn't have the equivalent of the platinum impulse symbol, so you couldn't get the spin on it set up the same way. This is the thing that screwed Mortal Wombat, is it had this thing with the platinum impulse that allows you to fuck about with it like this. So now we're set up again. See there, it comes back pretty quickly. It's happy to give us the platinum impulse. So even if it does dick you and lose on one of these, it doesn't take long to get it set up again. That's actually in the right spot there, isn't it? If we could get a real skill here. Yes, it has! Right, now then, there we are. It went quick that time. Now all we need to do... Now all we... See there? It's exchanging over for the one nudge, which is fine, because it sees the jackpot. It only wants to give us one nudge. But what it didn't see, and this is why I think you have to get the bonus on the left-hand side, it didn't see that we were getting ourselves a 1 to gamble on. So now... we can gamble on, then all of a sudden, see how it jumped past Superhold again. Now all of a sudden, we've got the jackpot set up. I do love the music on this. The one in the pub actually had a little bit, unusually, it actually had a little bit of volume to it. And I would do this when I had me pint and I had the jackpot set up like this. I would just stand in front of the machine with me pint and go, yeah, no, thank you very much, that's another 15, 20 quid in my pocket. So we can now nudge in our jackpot and we will have that fantastic jackpot sequence again. And you can actually leave it like this. This is how I would leave it there, where you've actually got the jackpot on the reels and you can just collect it at your leisure. And now we'll collect the jackpot. Sorry, I'm a sucker for that music. And this is not going to repeat. So there you go. That's the dream scenario where it's got both in it, where it's got the Superhold rip. Always do the Superhold first and then do the nudge rip. But in my experience, the ones that I had on site here, they never recovered to have the Superhold rip in them again. But if you got your timing right, depending on how much it was being played, I could visit the one that I had here 2 or 3 times a week. And if you got them on a sort of Friday, Saturday night, pubs were busy, the machines were getting played, you could do them twice in the same night. Once at about 6:30, once at about 10:30, 11. And you can tell when it's got enough money in it, because basically as long as it's giving you the platinum impulse symbol, it's got the jackpot rip in it, because it can't protect itself. Once it's giving you the platinum impulse symbol, it can't protect itself. So it just needs to have, I don't know how much it needs through it, maybe 30, 40 quid, something like that. 20, 30, 40 quid for it to start showing the platinum impulse symbol again. And then as soon as you get in the platinum impulse symbol, you can take a jackpot out of it. So that's both rips there. You can see how to do them. Have a play around with it yourself. It's a fun one to do. It's one of the easier ones. It's one of the more basic ones. It's one of them that you could do reliably when you'd had a few beers as well, which is handy. So that's the point of this video. Want to give a shout out to Woodsy for getting into the layout creation game. He's getting better with every release. Mortal Wombat is his latest and his best to date. It's a nice looking DX, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Woodsy has to do in the future. Also really want to say thank you to Andrew96 there for finishing off the ROM set. So we've got that fantastic sound and music package. Also, you can see there that Woodsy has name dropped several people who've been helping him getting his hand in with layouts. This is the first one that he's done with the disc reel, for example, so he had to get his head around the disc reel. But still, you can see there in the track mode when it's got the blended lamps going on, there's a little, so there's a technique that you can change there with the blended lamps. But once it drops out of that little bit of the attract mode, it'll go back to look, there we are, and now it'll look normal again. So really looking forward to seeing what Woodsy has to do for the future. And this is a great machine to have playable now with a DX and with the full sound and music package. And it's got those 2 rips on it, which you can have a go at for yourself. So thank you very much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch up with you next time. But for now it is goodbye. Mortal Wombat. What the fuck was I saying then?